Well, it's still a little early. It's nowhere near midnight yet, but I thought I'd try to share some thoughts about the year ending. I am glad it's over, definitely. I have no idea what's in store next year. Some say it's got to be better, or others people are saying it's going to get worse. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see what we shall see. It has not been an easy year for me. It was a little different from last year because everything was closed. But this year, for the most part, everything had opened back up again. We still had to wear masks. Some places were a little more strict about it than others. I still go into Walmart and see people not wearing masks. I'm back at Buffalo Wild Wings. They've always taken very good care of me there, and I've always appreciated them. And we got a Starbucks. I mainly just go in there for the Wi-Fi, but I have a gold Starbucks card. Someone gave it to me a few years ago, and I held on to it. And they take my order and tell me how much it is, and I always round up to the nearest dollar and have them load that onto the card. Then they take the price of whatever I'm getting out of what I've loaded on there and just leave the change on there, and it accumulates. And I also get the stars, which most of the time I have no idea what I'm going to get with them, since I already have thermos. Got it at when I went out to California to visit my family. We went to church there, and they gave me a little coffee thermos as a welcome present. And it still holds up, but I can get free drinks, free sandwiches. I mainly just go over there for the Wi-Fi. It's one of the few places in town that has decent Wi-Fi. Starbucks, Buffalo Wild Wings, and the library. Those are like the three main places. And we even got a Panda Express too. Panda Express is always good. My writers group's been having trouble getting back into the library for our meetings. We've still had to do Zoom meetings. We kept hoping that we would get let back into the library, and a few times we did. We had hybrid meetings. Some of us would actually meet, and the rest of us would be on Zoom. I will meet in person every single time. I need that. They kept dangling the hope in front of us. We were going to start to meet back in there on a regular basis, and it just never happened. And I just got tired of getting my hopes up to have them dashed. And a couple of times I just declined because I just wasn't in the mood. Losing interest in the things that once kept you going. That's not good. It hasn't been. My job, we've been working mandatory Sundays now for months. So I wasn't able to go to church on Sundays. And that's been taking its toll on me too. I'm supposed to be off Sundays anyway. They said we have to work mandatories. There's working on my getting only one day off a week, and then not having to go to church. Not being able to go to church, rather. We don't have midweek service or prayer group. The men meet on Tuesdays and the women meet on Wednesdays. We don't meet in December. We take December off, so now I wasn't going to church at all, and I'm like, now what am I going to do? They're good people. They really are. They have been very supportive of me this past year when I really and truly needed it. We came out of one Tuesday night meeting, and the wheel bearing on my truck had gone out, and it was just amazing. These guys, they just came out and they took the tire off, and they're looking it over, and they said, yeah, your wheel bearing's gone. So they helped me. Yeah, my truck was not drivable. One of the guys took me home, and we got it over to the place that they could fix it the next day, and I'm very, very thankful. Well, I'm thankful I had the money to pay for it, obviously, but I am thankful for the guys in church. Technically, it's not really my church because I haven't become a member yet. That kind of fell by the wayside with everything that went on, but I am thankful for them. I think I ended up at the right place. Like I said, we weren't meeting as a writers group. I wasn't going to church because of the mandatory Sundays. Don't get me wrong. The money is good. The money does come in handy. How else was I going to pay for the wheel bearing? Overtime pay is good. Overtime hours, not so much. They're always after me to take my paid time off, which I do. This year I took a little more time off than I thought I was going to. I took Thanksgiving week off, and I was looking forward to it. But I started feeling kind of funny over the course of the week, and I thought, well, hopefully this is just the flu, and it'll all be over by the time I go back to work next week. Had Thanksgiving at my niece's. She did good. She always does good, and I'm thankful for her. Tuesday rolled around. I went back to work. I was there for a little over an hour. Supervisor saw me, called me over, says, "You feeling all right?" And I said, "No." He said, "Go home." So I did. Then I went over to my doctor. He checked me out. I'm sitting there in the examination room waiting. Nurse opened the door and stuck her arm into the room and said, just wait one more minute. And then she left. Finally, the doctor comes in and says, "You have COVID." He didn't say what flavor it was. All he said was, "You had COVID." So he wrote me out all these prescriptions. That was Tuesday. And Wednesday morning, it hit. I could not move. I could barely move. I could barely breathe. I drove myself to the hospital and checked myself in. I didn't get out till Sunday. Spent a week in the hospital in the COVID wing. They had me hooked up to an IV, and they were always in there yelling at me to keep my arm straight. Going in every hour, on the hour, jabbing me in the stomach, checking my blood sugar, taking samples of my blood, moving me from the bed to the chair. I couldn't even hardly position myself because every time I did, the alarm would go off. But the pastor came to see me. I didn't even recognize him. I'm just sitting there in a chair, and I look up, and here's this guy looking down at me with the paper suit and a mask and glasses, and I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, "Oh, Pastor, hi." So we talked for a little bit, and he prayed with me, which is good. TV channel selection at the hospital leaves a little something to be desired. I mean, you get the basic stuff, sure, but no MeTV. And no MeTV means no Sven. That would have made it more bearable if I'd have been able to watch Sven. He was showing the crawling eye, and he told everybody, he says, don't spoil what the monster looks like for those of you who haven't seen it. He's on a poster. He's in the trailer. I try to post the trailer on my Facebook page every week for whatever Sven's showing, and I said, we're not, for those of you who haven't seen this, we're not supposed to tell you what the monster looks like. We're not supposed to spoil it for you. So watch the trailer at your own risk. Here's a hint. It's an eye and it crawls, but I didn't get to see that. I had my phone and I got on to the Sven Gulli page where he has his blog, and we gather in the comments section and comment on the movie and share little things about what's going on in our lives and whatnot. And I told him, I said, I'm in the hospital with COVID and they don't have MeTV, so I'm kind of isolated up here. They passed along their sympathies. They're another good bunch. I like them. But it took them a doozy of a time to get me out of there. They finally did get me home. They set me up with all this oxygen equipment. The oxygen pump and all the tanks and the little case with the little oxygen tank in it. I used the oxygen a few times, but mostly all I had to do was just go outside and get all the oxygen I need. But once again, the folks from church would look in on me, and they'd call and check in and ask me if I needed anything from Walmart, and I said, I just get orange juice and apple juice. And this one fellow in church, he was the one who checked up on me the most, and he'd bring me stuff like Gatorade and Ensure, make sure I had protein. And the pastor brought me a big bowl of chicken soup, which was good. I am very thankful. I am so glad I found that place. I may not always show it. I may not even always acknowledge it, because I just get so overwhelmed by whatever I'm going through. I am able to stop and reflect. I am thankful. But I went through my quarantine period. I was actually wanting to get back to my job, which kind of surprised me. It's not a bad job. I mean, it serves its purpose. It pays the bills and whatnot. It's not bad. It's just tedious. And my mind takes little side trips. And I'm not really always able to do something about it because I have to keep moving. So I pretty much have to just ride it out until 2 o'clock rolls around. But there are people who do tell me I do a good job there and how much they appreciate me. And I'm thankful for them. But I got through the quarantine period, and I celebrated by going to Panda Express for the first time. Had the crispy almond chicken, which was good. Got my fortune cookie, and I taped it into my journal. The doctor he checked me out, and he gave me a signed statement testifying that I am not contagious. He was a little concerned about my blood sugar because it skyrocketed while I was in the hospital. So I'm trying to get it under control. It'd be a lot easier if they stopped selling the gingerbread Mountain Dews. That's the thing they came out with for the holidays, was the gingerbread Mountain Dew. I'm not really a Mountain Dew drinker. I'm really not. But then they came out with this gingerbread flavored one, and it's really good. But I don't drink it all the time. Only when I'm feeling indulgent. I wanted to spend Christmas with my family, but they have little ones, and they were only trying to look after them. They wanted me to get tested to ensure that I didn't have it. I told them. I said I have a statement from my doctor. But no, they wanted me to get tested, and I was supposed to go to this place. Well, I went back to the hospital, and they directed me to this place in Shanahan where they'll check you out, they'll test you. You can get checked out in 15 minutes. So I went over there Christmas Eve, and they were closed, but the sign on the door said we'll open up back at 8 tomorrow. So 8 o'clock rolls around, I get over there. Me and a couple other guys, we waited for like an hour and a half, and nobody showed up. Once again, the folks from church stepped in, and they offered to take me in for the day. Two of the families did. Two of them did. I went over for pizza for one, and then I went over to the other guy's house, the one who was bringing me all the stuff from Walmart. I spent most of the day over at his place. They have taken very good care of me throughout this whole thing. I was off work for like a month. It wasn't until, I think it was the Tuesday after Christmas, I think? I'm not sure. This whole thing has just been like it's just like a fog. More so than usual. Well, being sick only made things worse. But I am back at work. It's a little better. I still have to go to work tomorrow, but they said it wouldn't be for a whole day, maybe just like 4 or 5 hours. And we don't have a mandatory Sunday this weekend, so I will be in attendance at church. That can only help me. And we're supposed to start meeting my writers group. The first meeting of the month will be in person. The second meeting will be on Zoom. So it's baby steps. They're baby steps in the right direction.